Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is going to be a DVD review of Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor 5. If you were impressed with the company with Death Before Dishonor 8, the pay-per-view, and you want to pick up a show that's similar or pretty much on the exact same level, then I would recommend getting Supercard of Honor 5. It's an excellent show. This took place back in New York City back in May. They brought in some TNA talent for this show, and I definitely think it worked out great. The Grand Ballroom was packed. This is one of the most crowded Ring of Honor shows in a very, very long time. So everything worked out great. So let's get right down to it. The first match was actually the Briscoes versus Kenny King and Rhett Titus. A really, really good opener. I really enjoyed it. I missed a lot of this match. I didn't get to my seat until the last couple minutes, so I did miss a lot. It went about 15 minutes. Pretty good action here. Kenny King and Rhett Titus did some nice tag team combination maneuvers together. They look pretty solid out there. The Briscoes look decent. I really can't buy Kenny King and Rhett Titus as the tag team champions, though. I would actually prefer Kenny King to just focus on his singles career, but it looks like they're going to be tagging up for a while. I don't know. I would just say that if Kenny King and Titus won the belts, I really wouldn't. I really can't buy that, and I could picture people saying that the tag team titles don't mean as much now because Kenny King and Rhett Titus have them. I don't know. I just don't see them on the same level as the Briscoes or American Wolves or other teams like that. But I don't know. We'll see what happens there when. The other thing about this match is, as far as the Briscoes matches, one thing that I think is hurting the matches is when they go for the Doomsday device. Back in 2007, they used to do it like so quick and so beautifully. Mark and Jay used to do it off the, they used to do the springboard Doomsday device. Now it's like Mark Briscoe, he takes his time, goes up to the top rope, and then does the Doomsday device. It's just very, very slow. It just, the crowd sees it coming. It's just not, it just doesn't have the impact that it used to have. So I really think that's hurting the finish to their matches, but it's understandable. Mark's got some pretty bad knees. So, but yeah, I mean, still a pretty still a pretty good opening match. I really enjoyed it. It's probably one of the best openers of the year for ROH so far. So, all right, next up we got Grizzley Redwood taking on Erick Stevens. This was okay for what it was. Grizzley Redwood looked impressive. I'm not a big fan of Erick Stevens as a heel. I actually prefer him as a babyface. I just think he's a lot better. And I'm probably in the minority, but I'm actually one of the people that like Erick Stevens as a babyface. I just think he fits the role pretty nicely, and I thought he was underrated, and he didn't deserve a lot of the shit that he got back in 2007. So, but yeah, honestly, personally, I would have scrapped this match. I kind of just thought it was unnecessary. It was just, you're kind of the definition of filler here. I really thought maybe they could have gave the women's match a little bit more time and just scrapped this. That's just me, but it was still okay. Next up, we had Amazing Kong, brought in from TNA to face Sara Del Rey. An excellent women's match. It didn't get that much time, but I really didn't have much of a problem with it. It was kind of similar to Nakajima and Roderick Strong from last year's Supercard of Honor. They just let those guys go out there for 10 minutes and just beat the crap out of each other. This was good. It was very, very intense. Had a hot crowd. Awesome Kong did a beautiful lariat to Sara Del Rey, which got a huge near fall count. What else happened here? Sara just hit a nice bicycle kick. I mean, just really, really good action for women's wrestling. I didn't like the finish, though. I think the finish could have been a lot better. Maybe a little bit more time. I agree with that. But still, I would say this is still the best women's match in ROH history. I think it's very possible. I remember Gabe used to plug a match from Round Robin Challenge 2 with Mickie James. He used to say that was the greatest women's match in ROH history. And there were some other good matches. I think the Battle of St. Paul had a pretty solid women's match. But off the top of my head, I really can't think of one that was better than this. So I still say this was a solid 3 stars. And still good enough to be the best women's match in ROH history. They don't give the women a lot of time. So, but I really think they could have given them more, like 5 more minutes. They got 5 more minutes. This could have hit like the 3.5 star range. So, all right, next up we actually had Christopher Daniels versus Eddie Edwards. Christopher Daniels' official return to ROH, who actually made his return to in Manassas the previous night against Kevin Steen. But this was him and Edwards going at it. This was solid, 4 stars. I really, really enjoyed this. This came off great on DVD. Really, really, really good stuff. Crowd was really hot for Daniels. Eddie Edwards has improved a lot. I used to think he was kind of soft. I just didn't feel like he had a lot of intensity in some of his matches, but he's improved so much. He hit a suicide dive. He hit a nice backpack neck breaker, which was pretty sweet. Daniels is a phenomenal wrestler. Say what you want about him. Maybe he's not as good as Bryan Danielson, but who really is. But the ending was beautiful here. The best moonsault ever spot. The crowd popped huge for that. That was awesome. So this is an excellent match. Some people actually thought this was the match of the night. I was very, very surprised by that, but I really can't argue with them because this is a beautiful match. Next will be an intermission, and as soon as we got back from intermission, Austin Aries and Delirious were scheduled to have a match. Aries came out as a manager, uh, officially told the crowd that he received his managerial license. I don't know. I kind of thought this segment was pointless. Really kind of disappointed. I think for a Supercard of Honor show, I really thought these guys should have went out and wrestled. I thought an actual match between Aries and Delirious could have added a lot to the show, but I don't know. This is just more of a segment. Kenny King and Rhett Titus got involved. It was kind of just what do you call it? What does Brett say? A smudge? That type of thing? I don't know. Just could have done without this, but it was okay for a segment. It adds some attention to the Austin Aries Delirious feud, but they didn't really capitalize on this at Death Before Dishonor 8, so I really don't know where this is going. All right. Okay, so next up we had Colt Cabana versus Kevin Steen. This was the 34th Street Last Man Standing Death match. This is an excellent match, one of the best hardcore matches of the year. I think people were kind of underrating this. Watching this live, I admit it was a little bit more dramatic. It felt like it went a little bit longer. This was kind of short, actually. I think they only went maybe 15 minutes. But great hardcore action here. They just beat the crap out of each other. It was right from the get-go. I mean, they just brought it. They brought out ladders. They brought out chairs. They brought out thumbtacks. They brought out a 2x4 barbed wire bat. I mean, it was an insane match. Kevin Steen actually did a cradle power driver to Colt Cabana on the thumbtacks. I think Kevin Steen took a backdrop onto the thumbtacks. And Cabana hit a moonsault on top of Kevin Steen right through a set of chairs. Kevin Steen did a beautiful suplex, tossed Cabana onto the outside through a table. I mean, there was a lot of holy shit spots in this match, and then there was pretty good booking. With Steve Corino, his son was dressed up as El Generico. That kind of distracted Cabana, and then they got the upper hand. The ending was sick. Basically, Kevin Steen does like a crossface with the barbed wire right onto Kevin Steen, right onto Colt Cabana. So Colt Cabana passes out, and that's pretty much the match. I mean, an excellent hardcore match. I think everyone needs to check this out. I think it's underrated. I think people are kind of sleeping on this. 4.25 stars, without a doubt. All right, next up we had the Kings of Wrestling taking on the Motor City Machine Guns in a dream match, a very anticipated dream match. Personally, for me, and I'm not kidding when I say this. Watching this live, I love this match. I was, people around me were just giving them a standing ovation because I couldn't believe the stuff that they were doing. It was just a phenomenal match. I really think if this had an ending, we could be talking about the match of the year. But the Briscoes got involved, and the crowd was chanting "Fuck the Briscoes." I mean, this is a tough booking decision. I'm sure that they didn't want to turn the Briscoes heel here, but the Briscoes ended up looking like assholes, or looking like LeBron James, so to speak. But honestly, I think TNA said that the Motor City Machine Guns weren't allowed to job, so that kind of fucked the whole thing up. But as far as the actual match goes, just great athleticism, just great stuff. Kings of Wrestling are just so fun to watch. Claudia looked awesome out there. Everybody looked awesome. I think Sabin is so underrated. I know Shelley's pretty much considered the better technical wrestler, but Sabin is awesome. But I guess he just fits a lot better in a tag team environment. But just tremendous action. I mean, it was like I can't tell you how great this was. I really think this was better than the matches the Kings of Wrestling had with the Briscoes at the Big Bang. I really believe that. And if it definitely had a finish, we could be talking about the match of the year. So an excellent tag match. I can't say enough about it. Everyone needs to check this out. 4.5 stars, possibly 5 stars if it had a finish. So, all right, next up we had Tyler Black taking on Roderick Strong. Tyler Black received a huge overrated chant when he came out to the ring. Tyler and Roderick, it's a pretty good competitive feud. I mean, there's not much of a storyline here. It's just a feud over the championship. But Roderick is pretty stiff. A little bit more stiffer than he usually is with his chops. There's just a lot of great stuff. Roderick with a lot of insecurities. Same thing with Tyler. A lot of backbreakers, a lot of chops, a lot of buckle bombs. I mean, pretty much everything you could expect. There was some good stuff with the referees. 3 referees got involved. I thought they added a lot of drama to the match. The finish was pretty awesome. I enjoyed the finish a lot. It was Tyler Black actually hit the God's last gift off the top rope. But I don't know. The crowd really didn't react well to the finish. They were disappointed with the finish. They really wanted to see Roderick take the belt, but I think that's asking for too much. I mean, I think everyone pretty much expected Tyler to retain. It was his first title defense in New York City. But it's still an excellent match. I would say this is probably the best match Roderick and Tyler have had together. They've had some good matches. The survival of the fittest stuff was pretty awesome, but I think this definitely topped it. 4.5 stars. It's another excellent match. This is an excellent show. Really easy to sit through. Not a lot of filler at all. I mean, this is probably going to go down as the second best Ring of Honor show of the year. I mean, they could definitely top this, but this is definitely going to be in the top 3 in my opinion. So definitely check out Supercard of Honor 5.